All right, Magic Makers, welcome back to another episode. So let me ask you something. Who taught us that it only counts if it all gets done? Right? Seriously, who taught us that? Because somewhere along the way, most of us got the same memo. All right, and I would love to like get some receipts on this. Like we need to track everything, never miss anything, meal prep in those tiny plastic little things, eat the same shit over and over again. Get up at 5 a.m., work out hard, eat cleaner. You know what I'm saying. And if you miss one step, girl, you were starting all over again on Monday. And so we accepted it, right? We said, okay, that's the deal. Health came with this all or nothing contract, but no one bothered to read the fine print. Right? It's kind of like we all get those like terms of agreement that we're like signing up for, like when one of our apps update and we're like, I don't even know what half this crap says, but I want to watch my Netflix. So we just check the box and we move on. And so if you're a woman over 40, you've probably got a double dose of this programming because most of us were like raised on this whole diet culture that halfway doesn't count. If I don't get it perfect, it doesn't count. I have to be all in or I'm all out. So if we end up, for most of us, like we end up not doing anything if we can't do everything. Sound familiar? I know it did for me, right? Because I lived that system at the highest level for, I'm embarrassed to tell you how long, right? Back when I was doing fitness competitions, I was the poster child for all or nothing. I thought I was being so good, right? It would start January 1st. My last show was roughly the last week of June. January 1st, I was on the wagon, meal prep, cardio, tracking, everything within measured within an inch of my life, everything controlled. And then when that last competition happened in June, I lost my shit. Not because I was lazy, right? Because I was like, I earned this. I worked my ass off for the last 6 months and I deserve to do whatever the bleep I want, right? Because that competition lifestyle, so many people like fantasize about it. It was never built for real life. It was never meant to be sustainable. And despite my coach's best advice, I was like, you don't know, right? I had to learn the lessons myself, right? I had to know that I swung in the complete opposite direction, ate and drank like a freaking nut job, telling me that I deserved it, right? I sacrificed for 6 months. I gave up my fun. I gave up my social life. I gave up, I gave up, I gave up, I gave up. Girlfriend, you aren't winning Mercedes. You gave up because you wanted to. You sacrificed that, thinking in your mind like, that's what you got to do if you're disciplined. That's what you got to do if you're motivated, right? And so then August would come and I would start thinking about my fall competitions. And then I'd go swing right back. Restriction zone, swing, like just swing it far, it would either be like the pendulum would be like far right or the pendulum would be far left. Right? That's how it worked for me. There was no like in the middle. I thought middle, like you were weak if you were middle. And honestly, if I look back, I was exhausted, right? Because I was either spending so much time white knuckling, proving that I could do this, mindset Jediing myself into getting up at 5 a.m. to go to the damn gym. To the other side, waking up like a bloated belly, hung over, and just being like, oh my God, I really shouldn't have done that. I really need to go to the gym today. And I really, 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 and like, so it just was like, be this like box or be this like freaking crazy person. And so when I watched the same thing, so then I stopped competing and I started seeing the same thing with a lot of women, right? A lot of women had this disordered approach to health and fitness. And I would see a lot of women, on social media talk about how they crushed this 30-day challenge or this 75-day challenge, and they would be amazing. And then I was like, okay, girl, like maybe you're like me after my competitions. I didn't know how to like re-enter the world. And then I see the same thing for these my clients, for these other women who did these, 30-day challenge, 12-week challenges. Day 31 would show up, vacation would happen, life would happen, and then everything would unravel. Like not because they failed, because the challenge failed them. Because the challenge was never designed for their life. Like the life that you exist, the life that says, "Oh, you were up late last night with your kid and you can't go to the gym at 6 a.m. We don't account for that. Oh, you have to travel for work and there isn't a gym that you could spend at 2 hours working out. Sorry, got to start all over again." Right? That's what I started realizing, that maybe we were just asking the wrong question of ourselves. Maybe the goal wasn't how much can I do? Maybe the goal was like, what can I actually keep doing? What can I actually keep doing instead of getting it through for day 30 or getting it through for day 75? What can I do on day 300? Right? And so now I want to specifically talk about summer because every year I see women fall into the two camps, right? Because I was one of those campers, proudly wearing the t-shirt. Camp one, summer's busy. I will get back on track in September. The kids are home, the grandkids are visiting, vacations, beach days, cookouts, life's just messy. So then basically health, Labor Day, it'll wait and I'll pick it right back up. And then there's the second camp. My type A ladies. Hello, I am a recovering type A perfectionist as well. These women are like, okay, July has to look exactly like February. Same workouts, same schedule, same expectations. And then when life gets in the way, when you go on the vacation, you go for a long weekend, it's your fault. It's your fault that you didn't get up at 5 a.m. when you're at the lake and host and swim the lake before everyone got up, right? It's your fault that, God forbid, you have an ice cream cone with your kid on vacation, right? You make it about you're failing because somewhere along the way, changing your plans, making a shift feels like failure because we were always taught it had to look a specific way. And neither approach works. One says, screw it, and one says, don't change a damn thing. If you can't fit it all into this box, you suck. And every year, I see women bounce between the two. And then here's what brings me to this, what I call my Bruce Lee moment. And if you don't know who Bruce Lee is, he was a famous martial artist in I definitely say 70s, maybe into the 80s. And so Bruce Willis didn't, I'm sorry, Bruce Willis, ding dong. Yeah. Everyone knows who Bruce Willis is. I'm talking about Bruce Lee. Bruce Lee didn't become Bruce Lee because he followed one martial arts style. He took several different forms of martial arts and he made it his own, right? He kept what worked and dropped the rest. If, and, you know, remember, like he's, and I feel like we're doing the same thing with our health, right? We say, "Oh, I'm keto," and like I gotta check every keto box to be keto. Oh, I'm vegan. I gotta check every vegan box to be vegan or paleo, whatever the bleep diet you are or program that you are following. If I am not checking all the boxes, what am I doing? Right? We're constantly trying to force ourselves into the perfect plan, the food rules, the schedule, the routine. And then we, why not, instead of kind of making sure like you have the rules like it's, a board game, like you're starting a game of Monopoly, why don't we say, okay, let's take a peek. What's working? Like out of all the rules, what's working for me? And if it's not going to work for me, I'm going to leave it. Right? It's like I like to think of it as like you're at a buffet, Do you eat, you go to a buffet, do you eat everything on the buffet line? Or do you like, you know what? I'm more into this chicken looks really good to me than this fish looks good to me. And you take the chicken and you move on, right? So I want us to start thinking in that mindset. So that's exactly what we're going to be doing. So instead of trying to master 15 habits over the course of the summer, we're going to say maybe it's three. They're simple habits. Drink more water, walk more, eat more protein. There's nothing sexy. It's not revolutionary. It is not going to break the internet by any stretch of the imagination. But these are habits that work, right? Because I know that once these simple habits become automatic, you'll do another and another and another. Not because someone told you, but because you're ready, right? And because you've eventually built a lifestyle around these habits. And I've talked about this before, with my non-negotiables, right? They're just who I am right now. And when those got easy, I moved on to something else. And not because my life was perfect, because I worked when it wasn't. That was the beauty of it. I set these up when I was traveling for 30 days and I didn't really know which end was up. And now that I'm again back in kind of my travel mode, flirting back and forth between Boston and Florida this summer, I know that I need to like ground these things and hold on to these things. And that's really where what I call the feet up summer came from. Not because I wanted to create another challenge. Lord knows there's enough of those out there, but I wanted to show you something different, right? Something that gave women permission to stop trying to always be improving themselves, right? Stop trying to be the self-improvement project. Stop trying to be the Home Depot of your life, right? Something that gave women something that you could adapt into versus abandon at the first sign that you weren't able to do it because something popped up in your life. And if you're wondering why I chose 26, it's simple. It's 2026, right? Idea was inspired a little bit by Gretchen Rubin, because she typically sets the number of habits she wants to do based on the year. So, it wasn't some big philosophy. It's an experiment. Let's try new things and let's keep what works. So let's get down to what Feet Up Summer isn't. It's 26 opportunities to experiment with healthy habits. There's 26 opportunities to discover what actually works for your life. Not because you do all 26. Hopefully you don't. But it's because I don't want you to become the world's greatest habit collector. I am sure, in my old office, I had a whole bookshelf of diet books that I have read over the years. I don't, and like that, I was a diet book collector. I don't want you to be a habit collector here. I don't want you thinking that you have to check every box to win. You know what was winning? What you can stick to. That's winning for me. And it's about finding the few habits that make your life noticeably better, right? So it could be one, it could be five, it could be three. I don't care, but I want you to give it a shot. Give it a shot to not be the girl who needs to, I'm air quoting here, nail it, right? I don't want to see the hashtag nailed it. You know what? I want to see the hashtag nailed it when I'm like, you know what? I spent 26 days finding something that works for me. Hashtag nailed it. Not every day like nailed it. Nailed it. No, we're like, what's going to work for you beyond the 26 days? What's going to work for you on day 260, right? Because if one habit sticks long after the summer, that is a pretty big win for me, right? So we're going to start officially on the first day of summer, right? Makes sense. And I will be sharing one simple habit every single day. Some's going to be about food, some it's going to be about movement, something's going to be about rest. Yeah, because some of y'all don't know how to sit your ass down. Some connection. How do we like have a human connection other than I liked her Facebook post? No, we're going to have actual human connection. What the heck is fun? And fun ain't cleaning out your pantry. I got to tell you that. Sorry, guys. And then some are just going to be actually like, how do we like stop and enjoy the life that you guys are working so hard to build? And if a habit resonates with you, you try it. If it doesn't, you skip it. And you come back tomorrow and hear what the next habit is. No absolute guilt. There's no catching up. There's no like, oh, I missed day one, so I gotta catch. No, you hop in where you are. You start where you are. It reminds me of that old Arthur Ashe poem. Start where you are, do what you can with what you got. That's the mantra. That's the mantra now. Because there's no gold stars if you get all 26. That's not what's happening here. I want you to think about it like a menu, right? The buffet. We're walking through the buffet. What lights you up? What makes it feel like, yeah, I want to give that a shot today. Right? These aren't, I'm gonna say mandates, right? And so we're gonna be hanging out in my Fit Girl Magic Facebook group for a little extra accountability, a little bit more encouragement. And yes, you will get a chance to earn some merit badge. Think Girl Scouts, but for grown-ass women. Because honestly, I think we all deserve a few more stickers. And if you're a planner like me, I will be sending out week one on Friday, June 19th. So you get a sneak peek of the week before we officially kick things off. And if this sounds interesting to you, grab the show notes in, or grab the details in the show notes. But before I go, I want to make it clear. The reason why you keep starting over is not because you lack discipline. It may be that you're trying to maintain habits that never fit your life or might not fit the season of life, aka summer, in the first place, right? If you're trying to make your July look like your February, it's going to feel like a struggle. And I know for me, February, I was heads down packing my crap. But July, I got a little bit more space. Like I finally moved and now we're like just starting to figure out where things should go. So there's a lit less timeline driven. Like the moving truck isn't coming, the moving truck is gone. So now I got a little bit more freedom to move around, right? Maybe you're just tired of following rules and you're just like, I am so over the rules and I just want to find a way to be healthy and fit and look in the mirror and like what I see without having to like hustle and grind. I got you, right? Because like I want you to think about like, what if nothing is wrong with you? What if you don't need another plan? What if it's like you just need to find a way to blend health, blend fitness, blend nutrition into your actual life versus it being like the top dog that you're always trying to climb that invisible ladder to achieve to get it right. Right. Because I want this summer and more than just a summer, but I want your summer to be more about like beach days. I want your summer to be about vacations, the cookouts, without all of that mental gymnastics that go along with it, right? Because that's not life, right? So maybe this summer isn't about becoming the best version of you or leaving your health on the shelf, but it's about giving yourself permission to find that version of health and fitness that can come along with your summer fun. So, like I said, here is the summer that you take what you need, you leave the rest, and I will see you inside the Feet Up Summer. Just head on over to the show notes, uh, give me your name and email address, and I will make sure that when the first week of Habits drops, you'll be the first to see it. If you're not quite ready for that yet, absolutely join me in the Fit Girl Magic Facebook group, and you will get daily drops of these habits starting on the 21st. All right, Magic Makers, enjoy the rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you inside the Feet Up Summer.